This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
David Dwork. Follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. And David, I just want you to know that my old ladies from Hialeah came through last night, bro. I dialed it up. I don't know what kind of things they sacrificed, but I told them, hey, let's go. We need the Shango. We need the Black Magic. You got to work it against the Avalanche. And guess what? We released the Kraken last night. I love it. It all set up for tonight.
The Kraken are giant killers this year. They beat the Panthers. They beat the Avalanche. Look at Seattle.
Yeah, man. I love it, dude. It was 3-1 in the first period. So they didn't score another goal for the rest of the game.
No, they put it on lockdown. Just like our segment. It went on lockdown.
Yeah, it went on lockdown. Exactly. Our ALennyLocksmith.com segment right here. And so I woke up this morning because I didn't stay up for the game. And I saw that it stayed at 3-2. And I was like, damn, that is so good. Because they do play a harder schedule than the Panthers do down the stretch. And look, tonight's a perfect example. You lose to the Kraken. Tonight you got the Red Wings. And it is... I don't know if the President's Cup is that important to them, but I think in a season where you want to win your fan base over, it'd be pretty cool to have, the home ice advantage in every series. So, 4 of the 7 will be played at FLA Live Arena.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like when you talk to Andrew Burnett, when you talk to the players, like they're all kind of playing it off like, yeah, it's something that would be cool. And we'd like to get it because we want to win every game, but it's not a goal like, winning a playoff series or winning the Stanley Cup is a goal. But to your point, it would be very cool for the fans down here to be able to put up a big banner in FLA Live Arena that says President's Trophy winners for 2020, 2021. It's an accomplishment, no doubt. And it's just another thing. I mean, the more that this season has kind of gotten towards the end, Orlando, and that kind of I've reflected on things a little bit, this might be as good as the Panthers could be. This could be, a potential dynasty. Who knows? They're going to be good for a while. Oh, yeah. But this season is ridiculous. This season could end up being the best season in franchise history for a long time. And that's not to say that they're not going to be good for years to come, but it's ridiculously remarkable what they've put together. And this winning streak that they're on right now has only kind of brought it to an entire another level.
Yeah, no, listen, if they could get to the Cup, obviously it'll become the greatest season of all time because of what you've done on the ice in the regular season, which, dwarfs what that other team did in 96. And just looking at this team, they're way better than 96. The only thing in 96 you have over this team is Beezer. That's the only thing that you have over these two guys because Beezer was just a freaking wall. And that's a whole different ballgame. But outside of that, this is the best team they've ever had. But I'll take it another step. This is going to be one of the greatest sports seasons ever in South Florida sports history. We don't carry hockey with the same kind of love that we carry football and now basketball. So obviously, when we look at the big 3 time and we look at the 72 perfect season and all that, those are going to be up there, no doubt. This might be right behind those two eras right there of sports in this town. That's how good this team is. It's not just a great Panther team. This might be one of the greatest seasons in South Florida sports history.
Yeah, it's a great point. Just kind of thinking back over the years, like even some of the great teams that we've had, the fun runs that we've had, there haven't been like iconic, like you talk about the 72, 73 Dolphins, back-to-back Super Bowls, iconic. The 4 years that we had the big 3, 4 straight finals, iconic, memorable. Potentially this team is built for that kind of possible run.
That's my point.
Is it going to happen? We don't know. But I'm just kind of thinking back as we're having this conversation to teams that even had that potential to possibly get there. I mean, you can kind of say the same conversation because just think Dolphins since the 80s. Maybe some of the Marino teams were good enough to go to a Super Bowl, but you're not thinking longevity. You're going year by year.
Right.
The Heat, they had the big 3. The Marlins,
lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
1 years. Yeah.
So the Panthers, they could really carve out a little spot on the South Florida Mount Rushmore of best teams ever if this comes to fruition the way it has so far this year, at least. So that's a good call by you.
Yeah, no, it's just that's why I've been telling fans this for several weeks and get your ass on the bandwagon and appreciate this every single night. Because what you don't realize is this is incredibly special at the NHL level. Plenty of cities around are looking at Florida going, damn, dude, that's a hell of a team. That's a nasty team. And, listen, the other thing that's changed also, David, when you watch television now, and I'm talking about whether it's the NHL channel or if you watch some kind of a hockey show somewhere, the respect that is there for Florida now, I've never seen this ever in my life.
It's cool.
Right. It's
cool.
It's a healthy respect. Like it's a feared respect. Like that's a hell of a team. To beat those guys, it's near impossible practically. That's the way they look at it. And I like that. That's pretty cool.
That's the good thing about this Panthers team is that regardless of who they play, what day it is, if it's a back-to-back, home, away, like they're bringing the same effort, the same compete. They're busting their ass every practice, every game. They're holding each other, like all the things that you want to hear from guys, holding each other accountable, doing it for your, like look at the other game, right? The perfect example, Sasha Barkov gets a hat trick. They win 3-2. Barkov could go 2 or 3 games without a goal and they'll still win. And that's the difference in past years. In past years, if Barkov or Huberdeau didn't have a big game, they're probably not winning that game.
Right.
Now, Barkov and Huberdeau, if they could go a game or two without scoring, no big deal. I mean, granted, they haven't. I mean, Huberdeau's been a machine this year, but just that's why they've scored so many goals, because everybody's producing, everybody's contributing, everybody's lifting each other up. Ekblad goes down, no worries. We'll bring up Gus Forsling to the top unit, and he'll take over producing like a madman. Right. It's just, you hear about the next man up mentality. This guy, the 4 lines of next man up mentality with this Panthers team. It's been really fun.
Vetrano kicks ass, and we trade him the next night. And he was clutch for since they acquired Vetrano. He was always, Johnny on the spot. He was always the dude making the right play at the right time, scoring at the right time. He was a terrific addition from the second they added him. And it sucked to let him go, but it shows you how deep this team is. Reminds me a lot of the Heat this year. Here's Oladipo and Markieff Morris sitting at the end of the bench going, hey, guys, can we play? And it's, it's amazing. Like Duncan Robinson goes off one night, and then the next night he can't even score because there's not enough basketballs to go around. That's how sick this Panther team is. So let me turn it on you now. Huberdeau and Barkov, easily best players on the team. So who's the next guy that you would call the MVP? If you didn't call Barkov or Huberdeau the MVPs, who's the MVP after that?
Of this season? Because obviously,
this season. Okay, all right.
He's the first name that comes to mind. But outside of Barkov and Huberdeau,
names. I was thinking there's several names you can put there after the top 2 guys that you can make arguments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the first guy that pops to my mind is Sam Reinhart. He's been so consistent. He's been contributing whatever line he's been on. He's been great on the power play, and he's been doing it really quietly. So, aside from those 2, but I mean, you could Duclair is he's been spectacular. Just like Reinhardt on any line, he's on special teams. Anton Lundell if he hadn't gotten hurt, he'd be in the Rookie of the Year conversation. I mean, you can make an argument for Sam Bennett. Very solid as a center. Carter Verhaeghe is another. I mean, really, you could just kind of go down the list. Mason Marchment, if he'd been in the lineup for a full 82 games, this is another guy that's producing at a nearly point per game rate. So it's just like the hits just keep on coming with this team. Like you shut down one guy, there's another 4 that are going to come and smack you in the side of your other face. So it's like, pick your poison.
That's why I wanted to ask you, because I was thinking about this while I'm watching. I'm going, obviously the 2 monsters, but then you start looking around and going, man, I can make an argument for a couple of guys that, man, after those top 2 guys, there's a bunch of guys that are so important to this team, and they help out in so many different ways. It's just one of those. That's why this team is where it's at, because Gudas, I understand that he's not the offensive threat, but if you really think about what he brings to the table and what he's provided, the elements that he provides besides the physicality and the confidence that he also gives others around him because of his presence, I could argue with him too. You know what I'm saying? I could say, he's kind of an MVP too in the way he means so much. Because, man, think about this. And you know me, I've been complaining about it for years. I hated watching our Panthers get our asses kicked all the time and get pushed around. since you brought in Gudis and the boys, there is no pushing around anymore. They're doing the pushing if there's any pushing to be done.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there with Radko Gudas. He and Patrick Hornquist, I think, are the two most important behind-the-scenes guys on this team for the last couple of years. When they brought first thing Zito did, first move he made after he became GM was acquiring Patrick Hornquist. And you talk to a lot of guys behind the scenes, and they all point to Hornquist. How he's the guy every practice, every morning, every gym workout, whatever they're doing. He's the guy that not only is he giving it everything he has, but he's pushing everyone else around him to give it everything they have. He's getting everybody to he basically said, look, I've won 2 Stanley Cups. I know what it takes. You want to get there, follow my lead. Radko Gudas came behind him, another guy who's amazing behind the scenes. But like you said, he gives them that element on the ice that this team isn't getting pushed around. This team, you're not going to take a cheap shot against the Panthers player and get away with it. You're not going to take an extra swipe at the goalie and not get a glove in your face. That's something that was missing from this team when they traded Eric Branson a few years back. And it's something that they hadn't recaptured since they brought in Hornquist, since they brought in Gudas. Mackenzie Weeder's another one that's a big part of that. And it's just, again, it's a brothership, Orlando. These guys, they really are a band of brothers. They get each other's back. It's been a great thing to see. And we're lucky here in South Florida that it's our team, finally, that we get to say these things and watch this awesomeness about.
I'm with you there. ALennyLocksmith.com, folks. You get locked out of your home, locked out of your car. You call ALennyLocksmith.com. They'll get you back into your home or your car. You lose your keys. You need new keys. You need them programmed for your car. They do all of that. 24-hour locksmith, residential and commercial. Call them. Tell them that Big O sent you. 855-869-5625. All throughout South Florida, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. We have also locations in Orlando and in Tampa and even one in Phoenix, Arizona. So it is growing. ALennyLocksmith.com. By the way, what are you working on there at WPLG and Chirping the Cats podcast? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I actually just posted a new story about an hour or so ago about Sam Bennett. We were just talking about him. Can you believe it's only been a year? It's just been like a few days more than a year since the Panthers got Sam Bennett in a trade. Wow. And he went from, basically like a first round bust in Calgary, not producing, skating on the 4th line, trade, rumors swirling. He's come to the Panthers and he's like, oh yeah, this is a 4th overall pick, and he's playing like it. Right. So it's pretty cool. It's been a year since he got traded, so I just kind of wrote a little story about that. He spoke after the morning skate today, and he basically said, I feel free since coming to Florida. I don't have any pressure. I can just be confident, not worry about making mistakes, and we've seen how his game has grown by leaps and bounds. So that I just put up on Local 10. I posted a new podcast last week on just kind of the state of the Panthers, the goaltending situation, Huberdeau's hot streak. And I should have another one in the next week or two, depending on the Panther schedule. I'm going to sit down with a player, I don't want to say who, before the playoffs start and catch up on things. So I'm hoping that'll go down in the next week or so. It all depends on what the Panthers practice schedule is. But a lot of fun things in the works. Oh, and look, around the corner, 6 games left, baby. We got the playoffs.
I can't wait, bro.
Oh, I'm so excited.
The best playoffs in all of pro sports is the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes.
Follow him on Twitter at David Dwork. Catch his work, like I just said, at WPLG, covering the Panthers. And, of course, his podcast, Exceptional, Chirping the Cats, baby. As always, David, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you immensely. We'll catch up next week.
Be well, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
You got it. There you go. The great David Dwork. And make sure you call Lenny Locksmith if you get locked out. 855-869-5625.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.